Hey, hi, this is Sandeep, and in this tutorial I'm going to explain you how you can relate some message defined in the resource bundle uh, within an application module. Okay, so up to now what you were doing, you were defining the keys and the values over here. Rather, actually these were being defined by themselves as you were trying to edit the other functionalities in the EOs or the VOs, right? If you remember, we were actually doing some things in the EO and VO, and based on that some strings were generated, some keys and values were generated over here, and in return these values were returned with the help of those keys. So that's all we have been doing. So this was basically linked to how this was a link to EOs and VOs that you already know. Now I'm going to explain that how you can use the same resource bundle, the same messages, the same keys, if you want to have some message defined in the application module. Okay, so basically there is no direct way to relate this resource bundle to application module. You have to just go through some of the steps further. So what I will do is that here there is some client interface. Okay, so nothing is there. Okay, even if you click over here, this is the client interface present over here. Actually this client interface is left because I already had some Java classes and I exposed some of the methods with that client interface, and then I removed those classes itself. So that's why this client has been left over here, I think, but you don't have to pay attention to it. To relate this, what you have to do, you have to go inside and just define application module definition class. Okay, so you have to go inside this. I mean, when this is your definition class, application module definition implementation class, which gets generated, go inside this, and here just click over here to override one method. So one method that we want to override looks like this: finished loading. Okay, so this method you have to override, and I'm gonna go and provide some piece of code over here. So this is the piece of code that I've written. It just says that have this, I mean, here is the fully qualified name of the resource bundle. It's present under this package, as you see over here. This is the package, this is the resource bundle, and its name is this. Okay, so that's how we are going to relate this resource bundle to this application module. It's just that you need this piece of code over here. Just save it, and if you go to the app module, now you can define application module class itself. Here is your application module class, and now you are free to call any key over here to refer to the message. I have already defined one key and value over here. I'm gonna use this inside my application module class. Okay, so I'm gonna use this key to refer to this message. So coming back to the class over here, I'm gonna write one method, simple method. So this is our method. Its name is foo, and it just defines an object resource bundle definition with R, and it just throws an exception, and what sentence it has to display, it will get it from this key. Okay, so you've already seen with this key this value is present over here. So before running this, I'll expose this method. This is the method, and I'll expose this to the client. So it's now exposed. I think it should run now. So let's run and test this. Here is the output. If you see over here, foo is our method, just execute. It throws an exception. This says this is invalid. So this message is coming from the resource bundle. So that is how it works. One more another thing that I would like to show you here is to change the data control name. See, this is the application module, this is the name of the application module, app module. Okay, if you see the data control corresponding to it, it says app module data control. So this is the default naming which happens corresponding to this application module. This is the data control, and its naming convention follows this pattern, that the data control is added or appended to this name. Okay, so if you want to change this name, data control name, so go over here, okay, and see in the property inspector. If you scroll on, you will find here some name. So I would say app module customized data control. Okay, so that's what I will say, and I'll just save the changes, so and just refresh it. as you see over here, the name has changed. It's app module customize DC. So here it refers to the application module written over here. Okay, and and apart from it, one more thing that I would like to show you here is, I will just close all these things. Okay, now here you see the data model. I have got only one view, that is the department view. You have got one instance of it. Okay, if you want, you can have multiple instances of it. See here, so all are basically same, so I'm gonna just remove and have two of them. Okay, so both of them are actually the same. So the thing to notice here is that you can have multiple instances of the same view, of the same type. Okay, and one thing more, if you go inside this department view, for example, I'll just minimize this, go inside this department view, and if you come over here, you can define a view criteria, right, as I already showed you. So let's go ahead and create a department criteria. I'll say department ID greater than or equal to a bind variable, and I will say department ID. Click OK. So here is our bind variable, and here you have defined. So we have defined over here this view criteria. Okay, now if you come to the app module, you already have these two instances present over here, right? So if you go inside, actually right now if you run them, see what happens. Okay, so you have got two instances and both of them will work same. Okay, scroll here or you scroll over here, both of them will work same. If you want to apply the view criteria that you define over here, you have to go over here, specify view criteria, you have to scroll down and then click find and then provide that greater than this 40. So it will give you the departments who have department ID greater than or equal to 40. So this is how it works. But one more thing you can do over here, you can directly come over here and you can apply the view criteria on this instance, but not on this instance. You want to display to the user all the records through departments view 2, but through departments view 1 you want to apply only one view criteria. So just select this, scroll it over here, and just supply this department ID value from here, just say 40. Okay, apply, click OK. So just remember that department view 1 should have records which have department ID greater than or equal to 40. Here is the output. If you try to execute this in table, you will see all the records are coming. Okay, but if you try to run this in form of table, you will see, and you should see, basically see it asks for this department ID and 40 is the default value that we already provided. You can alter here if you want. Click OK and you will see all the records which have department ID greater than or equal to greater than or equal to 40. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how to create the diagram of application module. See, right now I have got only this department VO, so I will add one more EO and VO corresponding to the employee. Just click over here. These are the steps which we have already discussed, so I'm gonna do them very quickly. Just query it, and I want employees. Okay, so now you have got EOs and views, and some of the relationship have also come over here. Employee manager foreign key, employee manager foreign key link. Actually there are more relationships which have not yet come because employee was fetched separately. So there is a relationship which exists between this department and employees, that has not come. So just to create the diagram, what we will do, we will just simply delete all the stuff that is already existing. We will just go from the scratch to create all these EOs and VOs. Sometimes it happens that when you try to bring the new EOs and VOs, some of the relationship won't come which exist in the DB. So that is the reason I'm going through the scratch right now to bring all the relationship that exist between them at the DB level. Okay, so now we should be ready enough. As you see, all the associations have come over here. Now to draw the diagram, just go over here, so actually you won't find any option over here to give it a diagram. You go over here, click new, and you say that I want to create business component diagram. Click OK. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, so its name is going to be this, and it is going to be present in this package. So we are okay with that. And as you click OK, it's gonna go ahead and create this diagram for you. So you have created this diagram. Now you can actually drag the application module. So corresponding to this application module, the diagram will be created. So as you see over here, the relationships have been defined, and these are the instances that you are seeing in the application module. See, this is the department, and these are the relationship which have got, here are the types, here are their instances. Through the department you have the access to the corresponding employees through the employee department foreign key link. So here you see this department view should be pointing to the employees view 3. Here department view 1 is pointing to employee view 3, and here is your foreign key link. This is the link. So if you click any component over here, you can see the structure over here, that what its type is, or whether it's a foreign key link or what it is. You can just change the look and feel by clicking these options. This will show the package, stereotype, what it is, and all these kinds of options will be present over here. So that's how to create. And if you select, there is an option called show multiplicity. For example, if you select this foreign key link, and this is the show multiplicity, so it will show you what kind of relationship it is, one to one, one to many, or such kinds of things. So this is how this diagram stuff works. One thing more that I would like to show here is the cascading of the AMs. So basically this is the type which is present over here, and this is the instance made out of these types. So as you see over here, just pay attention over here, that from the department view you have the access to the employees view through this link. Okay, so the basic thing to understand here is that you have any department view instance, you can access the instance of employee view corresponding to it. So as you see over here, there is a department view, and you have access to its corresponding employee through this view link. Okay, even if you just select this, it will show you over here that it's of type the view link instances employee department foreign key link 1. Okay, so now you have got this you have this department, and through this link you have got this employee. So you have got the employees table. Now again, as you see over here, if you have employees, you have the access to their corresponding department via this department manager foreign key link. So again, you can select this over here, you can select this over here, and if you scroll, if you just shuttle it across, what it will say, it will say that through this employee, get me all the departments through this link. So once you have the department, again you can, as you see over here in the classes defined, that if you have the department, you can have their corresponding employees also via this link. So again you can select this and this over here, and again you can shuttle it. So this is a kind of cascading that is happening, and you can do it multiple times. So if you just save this and if you try to run, then you will see the results, what happens. So here is the result, and as you see, you can see the departments first of all, scroll through, and these are the departments. You see this link, it will show you this department, and under this department these are the employees. This is a view link, this is the master, this is the detail. So this is the master, this is the detail. That's what it is. And now if you try to go over here on this link, already you have the employees view over here. Employees view 3 is being shown over here. On the same time, if you click over here, you can get the corresponding departments for these employees, and those departments will come like this, departments view 3. So you click over here, you will get, see, it picked up the first employee basically from here, and it gave you the department for it, department ID. Again, if you try to go one more level down by this foreign key link, what will happen? You have the departments view already. You click on this, you can get the corresponding employees under this department. Double click, again you get this, that this is the department ID and this. So this is the cascading that happens here, and you can define that cascading like this as I shown you in this tutorial. Now one interesting thing that I would like to show you here is, let's run this. Okay, right now I'm going to show you that there is a mechanism inside the ADF to store the state of the work, the unit of the work that you have been doing. Okay, so I will just wait for the model tester to come, and then I can explain you more. For example, here you click over the employees. Okay, you make the changes over here to just say underscore you. So these two changes, the first name and the last name, you just appended this underscore you, but you did not committed anything over here. But I would like to save the state of this transaction at least. So I will go to the file, I'll say save transaction state. It gives me 2251 as the transaction ID. Now 2251 has to be remembered. Now click OK, close everything and restart it. Okay, so here is our employee, and again it has come. So we did not commit anything, so that's why it is again getting the record from the DB and presenting it over here. If you want to restore the state, the transaction state, then just say restore transaction state, and you need to provide the same ID as was given to you. Click OK, and as you see over here, the transaction state has been restored, but nothing has been right now committed to the database. Okay, so just the transaction is maintained. So this mechanism I wanted to show to you, to explain you that ADF has the mechanism to persist the state of the transaction. Okay, as you see over here, a person was doing something in the employees previously, he or she changed this, and just when I restarted, he was able to access the same transaction state. So just remember this concept. With the help of this concept, I'll show you how the application module and their instances are shared or actually are provided to different users. See, if you look at this diagram, here is this app module implementation class, and you can have n number of methods inside this. These are basically the service methods that the end users will be accessing and getting some results out of it. Okay, so corresponding to this one application module, let's say you have got 3 instances in the pool. Okay, so maybe there are some n number of instances. Here I am showing only 3, so n number of instances may be present in the pool, but the number of users may be bigger than that. As you are seeing here, instances are only 3, but the users are 5. Okay, so how it's gonna serve all number of users? So I'll show you with the help by explaining how this instance 1 is used to serve the user 1 and user 2. Similarly, similarly instance 2 and instance 3 will be used to share among a number of users. Okay, so I'll just take this example. Suppose there is this instance 1 in the pool available over here. Now right now, just forget about all these things. Right now no users there. Now user 1 comes and just hits the URL and uses, let's say, method 1. Okay, so as it hits, this is not present right now, user 2 is not present, so instance 1 is not used by user 2, it is only used by user 1. So what will happen is that when this user 1 tries to access this method 1 by some UI, then instance 1 will be reserved for the user 1, and again it will start using. But as it gets the result probably over there, but there will be some thinking time after getting the result set. User 1 may be thinking something, he or she may not be clicking here and there. So in that thinking time, this instance 1 can be allotted to some other user. It's a waste of time to just allot one this instance to the same user while he or she is thinking. So what will happen is that while the user 1 is thinking, let's say while the user 1 is thinking, let's say user 2 comes into action and demands method 1 again, method 1 of it. So again this also requires a new instance. So as we know that user 1 is thinking, so now this instance 1 can be given to user 2. Okay, but before giving this instance 1 to user 2, whatever user 1 was doing with the instance 1, the whole transaction state will be persisted in the persistent store first. Okay, so the next time user visits, he or she can see the same data that he or she was working on. So it will be persisted, and then this instance 1 will be reserved to user 2. So now this will be gone. So now you have got only user 2. User 2 will access all the methods, or probably some methods, whatever he or she wants, and then start thinking about start thinking about something. So they will take again, user 2 will again take its own thinking time. So while that time, instance 1 again can be a reserve to user 1, but again before this reservation, this instance 1 will store the transaction state what the user 2 may be doing. So it will just store the transaction state of the user 2, and then it will just reserve itself. This instance 1 will be reserved to the user 1. So while reserving it back to the user 1, the transaction state with which this user 1 was working will be restored for the persistent state. So this is the mechanism, basically how the instances are shared among the users. I mean, the basic logic is that they are shared, and while in between the thinking time of the user, they are being shared to the other users, and while it is being shared, it is the ADF makes sure that it is actually storing the transaction state in the persistent store. So I hope this explains you well about the application module, and this is it.